One time I sat in class and my philosophy teacher came in. He sat down and began to speak. Imagine a drunk person driving a car and hitting someone. Instead of getting out of a car and see what happened, he drives backwards and rolls over that person another time. The driver gets caught by the police and sits now in front of a judge. The judge could consider the first hit as an accident, but the second hit was a choice under the influence of a drug. To make a decision, the judge has to know when the person died. Was it the first, maybe accidental hit, or the second, kinda conscious hit? So kids, how would you judge? My philosophy teacher asked. And let me tell you what the driver also said to the judge before. If I had the opportunity, I would definitely do this again. Rolling over that person felt great. Let me reveal the decision of a judge, my philosophy teacher said. A financial penalty. We usually get taught what is right or wrong by a generation before us. From a young age, they tell us what to do. But who taught these people what is right or wrong? Where is the origin of these thoughts? Why are there rules and who makes them? It's these simple questions we can begin with to enter a world of astonishing answers. A very famous quote in philosophy is, "Dare to make use of your own understanding." I heard this the first time when I was 12 in philosophy, and I didn't get it back then. Why dare, and what does your own understanding, also reason, mean? It takes courage to think on your own, especially when you know a lot of people or your whole surrounding will disagree. But just because a lot of people are doing or thinking something, it doesn't mean it's right. So how does it work to think, to know what to do? Something beautiful we all have been equipped with is reason. Reason is there to tell you what you can do and justifies your action. With reason, great thinkers try to figure out rules for the well-being of humanity. The country you live in makes its own rules. It's called positive right. Positive right can be set anywhere, anytime, and is temporary, and might be in some cases unfair. But let's focus on universal and reasonable roots and philosophers again. One of them said, "Act accordingly to that maxim by which you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law." Okay, a maxim is a universal rule that applies everywhere all the time, also known as moral rule or law of nature. We can find a lot of them in religious books as well in the human rights. How can we check if a maxim makes sense? Let's see if this maxim works. I help you when you help me. This can't work because what if I need help first, but I haven't helped you before? So a better maxim would be, I help you when you need help. Guys, I showed you this instrument at the beginning of the video. Listen. There's a certain melody in Avatar with a certain instrument, and I was always wondering, which instrument is that? And it's a kalimba. This is a kalimba, but it's more a gadget, more a cutie pie thing, but I like it. I don't know, I like the glass. And you can see, this is so cute. And it also makes me happy when I play it, because the sound is so beautiful. Here Okay, let's continue. So I was thinking to paint a blanket for the kids. So cozy, okay? We only paint cozy stuff now. Maybe there will be a period of time where I'm like, okay, I will let out all my things that annoy me about this world. But right now, no. I'm just painting beautiful things because beautiful things, when you paint beautiful things, your mind will get beautiful. You understand? You are projecting what you create into yourself as well. So if you paint depressed stuff, you will get depressed. If you think about depressed circumstances in this world, you think like, oh, this world is filled with so many bad things. This will be your perspective on the world. So think, I know it's hard to ignore the things, but try to ignore them for a day. And see what you do. You create good. You create good and then you spread good, okay? The law of nature comes from within us, from our logic. What is logic? What do we mean when we say this makes sense? Logic is a pillar of philosophy, but also of the mathematics and physics. It's the art of conclusion and is there to find the truth. For finding a conclusion, we use different methods. Let's analyze an argument with logic. Every human is mortal. Germans are humans, so Germans are mortal. So this conclusion makes sense because the premises humans are mortal and Germans are humans is true. Another argument, all birds can fly. Penguins are birds, so penguins can fly. So the problem here is that the first premise, all birds can fly, is not true. Not every bird can fly. So this method has its limits because we can't always know every factor yet to make a true conclusion. Another example, you have a basket but you don't know what's inside. You pick 3 times in a row apples, but this doesn't mean the basket is only filled with apples. It's actually filled with lemons as well. Or when I say 2, 4, 6, and you have to continue the numbers, it doesn't have to be 8, it could be 7. I could just say the number just has to increase. These are super simplified examples of logical fallacies in our life. And in addition, we tend to fall into the trap of belief biases. We are more likely to accept arguments and claims just because they align with our current belief and knowledge. A bias is very strong when we let ourselves be guided too much by our emotions, impulses, and needs. And there are so many more biases that happen all the time without us realizing it. So the first step to become smarter, to get closer to your truth, is to be aware of the human behavior, of your own behavior. So you are object and subject at the same time. You are thinking about your own self. That's the only way how you can find direction to the truth. For me personally, finding a mind-blowing answer takes first wondering, asking a simple question which leads to a chain reaction of answers. So in all, have courage to think, otherwise someone else will do it for you, and who says it will be with a good intention? Or who says they know your true potential and can guide you to it? You have been given something, so don't waste it. Good morning, guys. I'm a bit tired today, but a package has arrived. It was yesterday in my mail. So autumn has begun here in Germany, but I don't want to miss the opportunity to wear skirts in autumn. And you saw me wearing yesterday my blue blazer, and I want to wear that blazer with a blue skirt. Let me see if that looks nice. It's not the same blue, so it doesn't fit. It has to be the exact same color. You see? This is more greenish. No, I need the same color tone. I'm so picky with color tones. It has to be like that. For me, it has to be like that. I'm going to send it back. And another thing I have realized is that I have matured. When I look back, like just in these 3 months, I don't show everything what is going on in my life because it's just too much and it doesn't fit into the story. And I don't want to drag you down. I also don't want to drag you down because that's why I don't talk about just annoying things. Really, if bad things happen to you, welcome them because you get so confident from unfair things that happen to you. So the last 2 months I was completely alone in this flat. My roommate was, I think she was first in Italy and then she is in her hometown in South Germany. And guys, I think I'm living here since 2 years in this flat, or 1.5 years, I'm not sure. Now and then she leaves for a week to a month and I'm alone. And the first few times it was a catastrophe. I couldn't keep the flat clean. I couldn't keep the kitchen clean or the bathroom. Nobody's here. Why should I clean? This is so stupid, I know, and it might not fit to me how you have your how your impression is about me. Like, Valerie should be clean all the time. I'm trying, and this is something I'm striving for, to have that clean space, because then is my mind clean, I'm calm, and that's perfect. And now, the last 2 months, every day it was clean. Almost every day. And I'm so proud of myself. Managing so many things and keeping your household clean and doing all the things alone, it's not the usual thing actually. But when you can do that, props to you and props to myself. If you would come to visit me, you should feel comfortable in my home. But also I should feel comfortable in my home. And it's okay to be not okay with yourself too. I read it all the time. It's okay, you're doing fine. Yes, you're doing fine. But you also have to be honest. If you sit in front of your phone for 15 hours or I play for 15 hours video games, something is wrong with my life or something is wrong with me. But who says? This is also an interesting question. Who says that something is wrong? What you are doing is wrong? Can you decide that for yourself, what is good or not? How do I decide if something is bad? Through experience, right? Why do we feel good about a clean kitchen? Are there people who feel normal about a dirty kitchen? Is that something that is... It's too early for these thoughts, man. Why am I striving for excellence? Because I've seen what other painters can do and I want to do that too. Or the real world, I saw nature. Or is it the feeling? I think it's more of a feeling. When I see a certain painting, I get a feeling. For example, this painting now also evokes a certain feeling inside of me. And I wasn't able to communicate that feeling. Wait. I'm trying to not say things that I have heard before. And that was something I heard before, to say, I'm trying to communicate a feeling, but it's not true. No, this is not what I'm trying to do when I paint. Why am I doing this? So I entered the museum and I saw that those children and those people just laying there and watching a projection of the universe. And that made me think. That made me think about also a few dark things, honestly. Dystopian things, but also utopian things. There's so much room for interpretation when we see people just watching something like that. You see, feelings are so much faster than putting your thoughts into feelings. I'm so bad with this. Why am I thinking about this all the time? Guys, I don't know. I think I'm talking to you for like 15 minutes. I'm just going to paint. I'm going to communicate with you that way, through my paintings. Understanding life. That's what art is for. Because art happens when you can just sit down. I think that's when art happens. When there's no crisis, the civilization can just is in a good era. I used to play those kind of video games where you build a civilization. That's so interesting, guys. I was always building the huge library. I was always promoting knowledge. This was always what I was building on. And I was also playing with some other people. And they were yelling at me and they said, "Why are you always building the first wonder? How do you do that?" And I did some sneaky stuff. Okay. No, yeah, exactly. When the civilization is in a good era, art can happen. And when a crisis happens, the first thing that gets eliminated or people don't care about it is art. But art also brings the good to the people. Because artists make people understand life. That's our task. This was our task, guys. To let people understand the words. Or to help them understand, to make them think. I will just leave it in the room. I still have to think about it. This was so random. I didn't plan to sit here for now 20 minutes. To let people understand, to help people understand the world. And artists are not just people who make la 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 and just smash their brush onto a canvas and that stuff. That makes me so angry. I actually write my thoughts. I don't talk. When I write it, I get silent. Like I just sit there and look like this. And now I talk to my thoughts. I don't know, I get this expression on my face. It's like something that hits me. And this is... I don't know, I don't feel like talking.
Find the whole detailed process of this painting, including tutorial sheets with tips and my techniques, in the link down below.